Spaceman Labs Tactical Raid is a new game from Duke & Kook, otherwise known as DK Productions, the developer behind Dark Skies, the Nemansk Incident, Taipeh Contract, Cold Contract is another one of his, and Hunted, a step too far. So very well known and very well respected developer within the GameGuru community. But this, I believe, is his first proper foray into GameGuru MAX game development. And so he's got this kind of alpha version of his game, sort of loosely strung together. We've got 3 proper levels and also a training room, which we'll quickly go and have a look at. Full disclosure, this is actually the second time I've played this evening. The first time I did a full run through, got all my kind of thoughts out as I played the game, and then I watched the recording back, and although my mic was live, the game audio was not, which is a real shame because the game audio is really important in this game. Duke is also a music producer, he knows audio very well, the audio is obviously always very strong in his games, and it would be a real shame if you guys didn't hear it. So I'm going to kind of go through the game again and try and remember what I said last time, but yeah, my voice is already starting to get a bit sore, to be honest. It's the end of a long day, so let's quickly go into the training room and see what we've got. And I'll try and read the menu screens a bit faster than I did on my first playthrough, because I didn't actually manage to get any of the flavor text really. It loaded so quickly that I wasn't actually able to kind of take in much about the environment and the story of the game. So this is just like a little test level where you can use some guns, basically. Duke is very keen on gunplay and firearms, so he spends a lot of time getting custom weapon models into his games. I don't know how many of these are ones that he's animated himself. Perhaps they might even be ones that came over from Dark Skies, I don't know. I mean, I believe Dark Skies had something like 60 or 80 different guns in it, I think. So yeah, he obviously has a lot of weapon models just lying around. It's worth noting that these weapons have full auto and single shot. If you press V, you get an alternate fire mode, which is single shot. So these are all of the weapons that we can find in the game. Well, I think so. I think we may have just clipped through on that one when we kind of drew it. Let's take a quick look again. Oh, maybe not. Shotgun has a nice kind of spread to it. That's a cool gun. And we've got our revolver. And also just to say that this little kind of target script or whatever is quite cool. Although I do find it weird that when you shoot something from the front, it flies off to the side. You'd expect it to fly backwards, but anyway. That's just being pedantic. Even in this test level, we've got some quite cool ambience going on. There's looks like there's a few lighting artifacts, unfortunately, but yeah, we've got some particle effects going on, creating this kind of smoke in the air, which looks cool, even if it does kind of flicker a bit when you move around. And the bloom is also helping to create that kind of smoky atmospheric atmosphere. And actually, if we pause for a second, you can actually see there's dust motes and things in the air. So another thing that was quite prevalent in Dark Skies, also here in GameGuru MAX. And we have idle animations as well, so if you don't fire your gun for a bit, your player will actually look at the gun, which is kind of cool. And what have we got here? Grantlers, hot chili chips, so scharf, ish, gone, no, hang on, there's an apostrophe there, Gunt, Gutzen, Super Mario Gutzen. I'm afraid I don't speak German. I'm sure that's a very funny joke if you do, but it's a little bit lost on me. But that's fine. Duke is German after all. And the rest of the game is in English. So I think that's it for this demo level. We'll go back to the main menu and we'll load into the first level. So here we are. The Spaceman laboratory section is located 100 meters below the surface. The reason is to minimize the damage and outbreak or other... I missed it again. The thing is, the loading screens load so quickly that you don't get a chance to actually finish reading them before the game actually loads. That probably will change as the game kind of increases and the levels get bigger and longer load times and whatever, but right now they are, yeah, just a little bit quick. So, Spaceman Labs, main floor, we've got research, communications, lobby and auditorium. Then we've got the basement is the laboratories and basement 2 is the containment site. So I assume we're now on the main floor right now. This is research, communications, a lobby and a auditorium. So yeah, one thing to say about this game is that it's very clearly inspired by F.E.A.R. So much of that game is spent wandering around kind of offices and science labs and things, and there's possibly slightly less of a paranormal element in this game. It's basically more just like zombie sort of soldier things, but it's still definitely got that, even down to the sound design, that very sort of eerie, sinister ambience. So, having already played this level before, I will just engage the first few enemies up here. There's one more. Oh, okay. So our combat audio just died there for a second, which, yeah, a bit of a shame that didn't work quite as well as we'd hoped, but, yeah. The sound design is still very good. And they're very fast, these zombies. They're definitely Danny Boyle zombies, not Romero zombies. So, a fairly limited number of props, really, when you think about it. Just these desks, the chairs, microscopes, the odd laptop, and a bit of, you know, some cupboards and whatever, but maybe there's like 15 or 20 different assets that make up this room, but it's enough to fully sell the fact that this is a kind of a research lab. So, yeah, very economic use of assets, I would say. And we'll see those same assets repeated time and again throughout the level, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's good to be efficient. So this is our level 2 access card. Presumably we'll need that later. This shotgun seems to do a lot more damage than the other gun we had. Okay, so that is the door to get through to the next part of the level, but I'm going to carry on scoping out this part of the level first. So here's the corridor we were just in. Oh my god. Didn't see you. Ah, I'm reloading. Don't seem to be able to break off a reload animation. But this is all very cool, very atmospheric. Something's obviously gone seriously wrong here. We don't actually know what at this stage. Some of these models would have been made by Duke himself, I think. Just kind of simple boxes really, but with some textures on. And they look reasonably effective, I'd say. And the lighting. What? What? I hear something but I can't see it. Oh my god, okay. Whoa! Whoa! Okay, you're stuck in the door, so you're not necessarily a problem, but... Good lord. That was designed to scare the bejesus out of me, and if it hadn't got stuck in the door, it probably would have done. So personally, I'd probably... Okay, here's how I would change this encounter. So the problem is he can't make it through this door because he's too big. So widen this space out a little bit, get rid of these pillars, make it a bit more open, but maybe give somewhere that this monster could be hiding off to the side, and then have him come in. Just because if he spawns too early, or if he kind of, if there's too much clutter in the way, his sort of wayfinding won't work, and he won't be able to actually kind of make it to you. See, right, here we go. We've got glass here that I didn't even know was glass. So actually this is not an open space at all, but I think it should be more open because, yeah, I mean, you're going to want to run away from that guy when you see him. So, yeah, you kind of need to give the player that option, I think. Then again, I suppose they can approach this area from this angle too, so you need to kind of cover off both potential options. It'd be kind of cool if this monster was kind of like doing something, like idling just on the floor or something, eating a corpse or whatever, like, and you kind of walk in on him doing that, and then he kind of gets up and you have to fight him. That's a hell of a lot of blood. So, a surprising amount of light markers here. Lots of dynamic lighting. Obviously, GameGuru MAX only does dynamic lighting. There are no light maps here, so this is all having to be calculated for every frame. Some of these lights are moving, but most of them are static. And, yeah, you'd have to say that the lighting is very atmospheric. And it's not just the fact that it's dark, either. It's the fact that where the light is coming from, it makes things look more sinister. We'll see that a little bit later on as well, but if we head into the next section. See, that was much better because there was a wider kind of combat area. So even though I couldn't see him coming towards me, which would have been nice, I knew I had kind of a bit more space to play with. And we also completely forgot the vending machine. I need to go back and take a look at that because there was a nice joke with the vending machine. Let's see if we can go back over there and take a look. So, here we go. A working vending machine, and it actually vends cans of drink. Urinade. Genius soft drink for genius minds. Looks like shit, tastes like mother's milk. Brilliant. And there is Duke himself, along with probably his friend. And yeah, it's kind of cool that this just endlessly spawns cans of drink. So that's a nice little Easter egg. And this vending machine next door is kind of its own little Easter egg, really, because it's an old FPS creator asset that's been seen in many a FPS-C game over the years. And we'll see a lot of that actually in this level. There's a lot of little assets which have been used in many FPS-C games over the years, and they're still being used here, even though they're, you know, 15, maybe even 17 years old. But it's amazing what a good kind of roughness map, metalness map, and even a normal map can do to an old asset. Oh god, now we're getting... You know, these guys surprised me the last time I played as well. The speed is just so... And you can't break the reload animation either. You need to wait for your character to reload before you can actually shoot. There is probably a melee button as well actually, but I never use it. Okay, so it's Alt. I'll try using a different gun. See what this one's like. So yeah, the red lights are cool. This is a stock script, I think, that comes with GameGuru MAX. You'd expect in an environment like this that wasn't under a zombie attack that a lot of the lighting would come from the ceiling, and we do have the occasional ceiling light up here. You'd probably expect to see more of those, even if not all of them are working. These lights down here, in real life, they probably wouldn't make a lot of sense, but here they do make things look a lot more sinister. Lighting something from underneath always makes things look sinister, even creates some interesting shadows on the wall. So yeah, very atmospheric use of lighting. And most players won't spot the fact that it's a little bit sort of nonsensical to have lights just on the floor for no reason. So that is the end of, well, technically level 2. So the compound sector is located 300 meters below the surface. It is one of the main storage areas of the Spaceman Corporation. It stores items worth millions of dollars. The door can be opened for 25 seconds. Okay, so that's a really important bit that I missed the first time I played this because it loaded so quickly. So when I played this the first time, I did successfully manage to open the door, but I didn't know that it closed again after 25 seconds. So I think, yeah, probably don't rely on just the loading screens to kind of do that sort of heavy lifting. I mean, I think they're quite good for flavor text, just giving you a bit of a sense of the world and maybe the Spaceman Corporation, but yeah, probably not for really crucial gameplay details like that. Oh no! Oh my goodness. Reload anims are a bit slow, I think, but yeah. Oh no, there's another one! Oh my god, there's so many of them! Okay, so let's do a little weapon review, shall we? So, we like the shotgun. The shotgun is good. Sounds weighty, does a lot of damage. Sounds a little bit silenced, actually, which is a bit weird. Kind of like a bit of a longer decay on that one, especially as we're in quite an echoey environment, I would say. The Uzi... Oh, we're actually out of bullets on that. No, we're not. Reload animation's a little bit slow, but still feels pretty good. This silenced gun is nice, but seems to take forever to load. What is that? P90? Yeah, it is. Oh, that's cool. I love a P90. Oh, nice. We can actually get some hot chips. Wish I could eat those for a bit of health. No, I don't really. I don't think that would fit with the game, to be honest, but I'm just saying. It's just nice that that's an interactive object. Yeah, so shotgun's definitely my favourite gun at this point, just simply because it seems to do more damage than the others. It seems to take a lot to actually take out these zombie soldier things. So Duke is no stranger to... Oh my god. Oh god, there's 3 of them. And headshots don't do anything. So don't rely on headshots to save you, because they won't. I was going to say, Duke's no stranger to warehouse environments, having developed Cold Contract, I believe was one of his. So that was set in a warehouse. And yeah, there's nice attention to detail around here with things like the... you know, all the kind of gantry work up here and the pipes and things. It's simple, but effective. Right, so we know that this switch opens the door somewhere. Now, the question is, do we go and do that now, or do we go and clear the level out first? I think we'll try and clear the level first, and then we'll sprint back and take advantage of a clear route. This is assuming that that switch doesn't spawn in enemies, which... I actually don't know if it does. Okay, this is silenced, I do get it, but even a silenced sniper rifle doesn't sound that quiet, surely. I think we've got doubling up of the music going on, haven't we? Ah! Wasn't expecting you to. No reward for your efforts. Really? Nothing at all? Not even a key card? No, you can't even pick it up. Oh, that's annoying. Oh well. At least I get to... My reward is being able to look at the nice lighting, such as these glow sticks, which are a nice touch. sniper rifle seems a bit of an odd choice for an interior level, but we'll go with it. Not saying a rifle is a bad choice, just a scoped sniper rifle is slightly strange. So, presumably this is another level that's been put together with the use of the building editor. That's been done for performance reasons, as far as I'm aware. So, in GameGuru Classic, you might have been tempted to put this game together using kind of walls and floors and kind of build it out of tiles almost, and kind of put it together one block at a time, one piece at a time. Or maybe have entire sections built that you could kind of glue together. But GameGuru MAX doesn't seem to like working in that way. It seems to be quite inefficient for whatever reasons. So the building editor seems to be a good way of doing simple environments like this with just walls, floors and ceilings. These must all be custom textures. They do look like they're PBR, which is nice, although you'd have to say that considering this is supposed to be concrete, they do look a little bit shiny. Everything's been coated with a thin layer of well, I was going to say water, but actually it's probably shinier than water. It's, I don't know, hairspray, polish, wax. No, wax isn't that shiny, but yeah, there's definitely a sheen to these things. But even the floor as well, that looks very shiny too. So we've got 25 seconds, so let's see if we can get to the door in time by sprinting. So a little bit of the backstory on this game. So okay, so there was a games contest that Duke entered with a one-level horror game called the Schweinmann. Now, even with my terrible understanding of German, I know that Schweinmann means pigman, and it was a horror game where you basically came across this kind of grotesque pig-looking thing at the end of the game. But the guy that was playing it as part of the live stream at the end of the competition, Mipastu, another well-recognised GameGuru developer, mispronounced the name, and he didn't pronounce it as Schweinmann or even Swineman. He pronounced it as Spaceman or Spaceman. So that kind of became a bit of an in-joke between us GameGuru developers, and Duke then set about creating a bit of a backstory to the Spaceman. So I think there was another horror game that was kind of set around the Spaceman kind of tracking you down. I swear I just saw a shadow of something. Isn't that strange? No, maybe I didn't. And yeah, so now we've arrived at what really is not really a comedy game at all. You know, considering this came from sort of a humorous event, we've actually ended up with a fully kind of scary horror game out of it. So yeah, it's funny how that's kind of developed. So Spaceman Labs Tactical Raid. I think there has also been a previous version of Spaceman Labs as well. Maybe it wasn't called Tactical Raid. Okay, so level 3 over and done with. Time for the final level in this alpha. This is the laboratory section. So it's deep underground. Class A personnel marks... Oh, see, it loads so quickly. And as I said in my last playthrough, something that would be really nice, and I don't think this is a thing that that Duke would be able to implement himself. I think this would have to come from the game creators. It would be nice if once a level has loaded, you don't have to leave the loading screen until you press a button, press spacebar or something. It would just give you that much more time to be able to kind of read stuff and kind of take it all in. So yeah. Got some cool hazmat suits here. I don't know where these have come from, but presumably they're recycled from Dark Skies, maybe recoloured slightly. Nice little changing room area here. And no shortage of hazmat suits, so yeah, whatever's going on down here is obviously well, very hazardous, I suppose. One thing I will say, and I did mention this in the previous playthrough, you saw it better in the last level actually, but the use of this particular font, we've seen it a few times now, it just looks a little bit, I don't know, amateurish, because it's just a stock font. It just looks like Calibri, which is like a system font. Everyone knows it, and it's just very recognised. And I just get the sense that I'd totally forgotten about that guy. Right, so we've now got to kill this kind of zombie hazmat guy, but he can't get through this door. Let's just check if he can get through the door. Can he get through the door? Yes, he can. If I don't shoot him, he can. Oh, but he can't get he can't get through that one. You just wait for me to reload. Thank you. Okay, so yeah, I'd totally forgotten about him, even though I literally played this an hour ago. Yes, so the point I was going to make about fonts, which almost makes no kind of, it's not really even a big point really, but I just find that when people use kind of system fonts and very well-known fonts in their games, it can sometimes pull you out of the experience, because realistically, a corporation like this, evil or not, they would have some sort of marketing team and they would have something a bit more unique. Okay, I can hear something, but I can't. Okay, you gonna come around this corner? Oh wow, you went down really quickly. Okay, I'm not worried about you then. Cool. Interestingly enough, the first time I played this game, I don't know whether that enemy was always supposed to spawn around here, but there was one that spawned at the end of this corridor and was kind of walking off in that direction. So they don't always behave themselves, these enemies, but it's cool to see an enemy with kind of custom animations, and hopefully we'll get to take a bit of a closer look at one of these sort of zombie hazmat guys later, because the character design is really cool. I feel like our movement speed is significantly reduced in this level, and I don't really know why. It feels a lot slower than it did in the previous levels. I get it's to kind of build more tension, but there doesn't seem to be like an in-world reason why we would be moving more slowly. Okay, so I thought there was an enemy down here. Maybe they're on patrol, maybe they go walkabout. Maybe we'll come across one in a second. Yeah, more FPSC entities. Parallax. Okay. Not sure why fabric conditioner's in here. Maybe that's not what it is. Maybe it's meant to be bleach or something, but looks like fabric conditioner to me. But yeah, some of these old FPSC assets still going strong after so many years. Where? Okay, so we took him out pretty easily there, but what was interesting about that was that the music came in too early, basically. I don't know where that enemy actually was, whether he was patrolling or whatever, but he obviously saw me around this corner. I was about here when the music actually kind of came on, unless it's done by distance, not by line of sight. But yeah, maybe something to look into there. Sound design as usual, very good. The music is very atmospheric, and yeah, even just like the klaxon sounds, it's all kind of building that tense ambience. I guess we already have that rifle. I don't know whether there's any med packs or anything. Is he coming towards me? He's sort of trying to come towards me. You might be the one enemy in the game that actually makes sense to get rid of with a scoped rifle. I now can't see you. Where the hell have you gone? You've disappeared into the shadows. You're going to come back. Interesting. you would think a rifle like this, a high-powered rifle, would be able to do a lot of damage, but it's probably not a one-hit kill. And sometimes it's not about the sound design, it's about the absence of sound, creating, you know, a very sinister atmosphere. Even the footsteps are very quiet. And this is the room that gave me PTSD. Oh my god, look, there is someone there, I just saw him. No music this time. That's a shame. Also, this sniper rifle doesn't do any more damage than the shotgun. Probably less damage, in fact. So the first time I played this absolutely scared the bejesus out of me. So coming into this room, you could just tell that something was not right about this. And, you know, there's all these kind of, I'm not sure what you call these, but these like barriers here, these curtain things. And I was kind of wandering between them, and I was like, oh god, what's going to kind of pop out? And then there was a moment here where that enemy kind of popped out from around this corner, and it really scared me, basically, because, you know, you hear the music but you can't see him, and I was looking around and then he appeared. Yeah, so I felt that this was a really good room. Strangely, it didn't work as well the second time round, and I'm not sure why that is. It could have something to do with when these enemies are spawned, where they're spawned, and just what they're told to do before the player actually gets into the room. What are they doing? Are they wandering around on like a waypointed path, or are they... yeah, just what are they doing? So I believe there's one more hazmat guy down here. We did see someone walk... ah, here he is. Let's just get a better look at this character model. Very cool, very, yeah, gory, grotesque. Wow, he's got a lot of health. But not enough health. Yeah, he seemed to take more damage than the other ones. Look at all this behind him, where I was desperately in vain trying to shoot him. Now, I can't get into this room, and I assume that is on purpose, and I guess that must be the end of the level, because I explored this level thoroughly on my previous playthrough and didn't find another way to kind of end it. So one thing I will do is just kind of backtrack through the level and just hopefully I can kind of replicate an issue I had the first time I played this. But yeah, it's well, I mean, I've said it already, but very atmospheric. The lighting is brilliant. The oh, hello. Are you alive? Right, so here's the problem. So this enemy is dead. We killed him when we got out here, but now he appears to be stood up and wandering around. And well, no, sorry, he's not wandering around, and you can walk through him. He's got no collision or anything. So I think this is to do with the fact that this enemy has been set to not be always active. So that's done for performance reasons. You want to save performance. You don't want GameGuru to be kind of calculating the AI for characters that the player can't even get to, or that have died. So you set them to not be always active. They only become active within a certain radius, basically. But the problem with that is that when you then walk away from those entities, from those characters, if you get beyond a certain number of units, and I don't think it's that far, I think it's like 1500 units, which is really not that far at all. The sort of script that they're running sort of stops working, and any sort of death animation that they were in the middle of, or pose that they're in, it's just reset. And when the player comes back to them, they kind of go back to their idle state, albeit with no health, no collision, and they just kind of stand there idling like this. So the way to fix that is to set them to be always active. Now the problem with that is that you're going to have a performance hit, because GameGuru is going to have to be deciding what it's doing with these enemies while the player's not anywhere near them. So the only way to kind of get around that really is to destroy the entity, to actually remove it from the level once it's dead. Now, you don't necessarily have to do that while the player stood right over them. There are, I think there's probably ways you can do that where you can kind of let the player get a certain distance away and then the body disappears. Then GameGuru doesn't have to think about it anymore. They don't have to calculate the AI. But yeah, the problem with the current system is that all these enemies that we've kind of killed, if I now go and walk back to the start of the level, we'll be able to kind of go back through the level and we will see that yeah, they're all up and about again. So wow, that's really sinister. See what I mean about lighting something from underneath it? Yeah, it makes it look very sinister. So yeah, we're going to go back through the level and I'm just going to kind of show where the different enemies were and show that they are now all stood up and yeah, they're not alive. In some ways, I guess you could say they're even more zombies now because they're neither living nor dead, but I see that this one's okay. Why has that one died properly but the other ones haven't? This one's still stood up. This would be a great time for one of those zombies to actually still be alive and to actually attack me. That would just, oh, that would scare the hell out of me. Yeah. Okay, so what can we say about this game? What can we say about this level? Again, it's been put together using the building editor for performance reasons, and it's running at a very stable frame rate. The downside of that is that it's very sort of boxy and right angles everywhere, which unfortunately is a shortcoming of the building editor. There's not really much you can do about that, to be honest. So yeah, it's just it's in the nature of the tools, but it feels very much like an FPS creator level for that reason, because you know, it's all right angles everywhere. Potentially you could say for things like this you could probably, it'd be nice to see a door frame there rather than just the door sliding backwards and forwards, but that's a fairly minor detail, but it would add to the overall feel of the level, make it feel more realistic. For me, there's too many red lines on the wall, but that's just personal taste. I don't think that's going to affect the actual gameplay experience. I will say that once again, the lighting is really good. Sound design, also very good, very atmospheric. The weapons feel, for the most part, pretty good. Favourite weapon was probably the shotgun, followed by whatever... This is, whatever this is, this sort of... That's very cool. And does a lot of damage. Basically, I just like the weapons that do a lot of damage. That sounds a little bit... I mean, it is silenced, but it sounds a little bit pea-shootery. Yeah, I mean, overall, a pretty decent selection of weapons. This one you'd expect to sound way louder. Yeah, so anyway, I'm not sure what else I've got to say really. I think that's pretty much covered everything. I think yeah, I mean, enemies, sound design, lighting, the fonts. No, that's a minor point, but I'm going to keep coming back to it because you know, it's like if you were to put Comic Sans in your game, everyone would just be like, "What? Why have you put Comic Sans in your game? Who uses that?" So, on the assumption that there is no end to this level, I don't think there is. I certainly can't go any further. I'm gonna call it quits there. So, thanks very much for joining me. Hopefully, if Duke is watching, he's found this playthrough informative. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing where this game develops. I hope it does get developed a bit further. And yeah, I'd like to kind of play more levels and with a little bit more storytelling through the audio and also just through the environment. I think yeah, there could be a cool little horror game in this somewhere. And yeah, I would definitely play more of this. So thanks for joining me, and I will see you in the next one. Cheers.